Good morning. Welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on this 3rd day of June 2024. You'll have to excuse my voice, but you try to walk through the journey. Robert Mbui is the Member of Parliament for Kathiani Constituency, Deputy Minority Leader, National Assembly. Good morning.
Morning, Sam.
Faith Odhiambo, the President, Law Society of Kenya. Good morning.
Good morning.
Should I say congratulations because you haven't met since the election?
Asante.
Then you have Ruben Kigame, lecturer at the AIU. He also hopes one day to be president. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. And shortly we'll be joined by Duncan Madenge, who is the Member of Parliament for Nyeri Town constituency in Nyeri County. So much going on in the mountain region. But before we get to that, last week the President spoke about the trip to the US, and of course now he's traveled out of the country to South Korea for a different agenda. And he was explaining the questions about the jet. And Mheshimiwa Mbui, we've heard of voices from the opposition side. What's your take about the explanation?
You know, Sam, let me begin by saying this regime of Kenya Kwanza, they are very well known for doublespeak. This started even during the period of campaigns. Remember, many of them in their fuel guzzlers, when they would come up into marketplaces and tell Kenyans that the former president didn't understand how taxes hurt the common man and how they're going to form a government of the boda boda, the mamamboga, the real hustler of Kenya. And after they got into office, all that was wished away. I mean, we've had the same doublespeak on this matter of this jet and this trip the president took, because we understand that the value of that trip in terms of, that jet for that trip is about 200 million. But then, just like they did with the fake fertilizer, the first thing you're told that the thing is valued at about 200 million, the president says, no, it's not that much. The next time the story changes, he says, in fact, Kenyans didn't even pay for it. I think it was some kind of donation from somewhere. I mean, for me, it's just a script that they're used to. They start from one corner and end up in the other, and it's always a smoke screen. But the reality is this, that the final comment that the president made on this jet is that it was a kind of a donation. And that flies in the face of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, because in the leadership and integrity, the president is not supposed to be accepting gifts. Because any time you are accepting a gift, then obviously, by the way, Sam, even a bribe is a gift.
Yeah.
A bribe is a gift. The question we'd want to ask is, when he's getting a gift from whoever these shadowy people are, what exactly is he going to give in exchange?
Right.
Because he's not going there in his own personal capacity. He's going there as a president of the Republic of Kenya. So why does someone give him free transport to go to the US? What is in it for them? So right. I think for me, he's breached the Constitution. I think it's Article 70 something. I think 76. He's also breached the Clause 11 of leadership, and it's called a Public Officer Ethics Act. So basically, I think for me, the president has committed those offenses that are actually the kind of offenses that can have him impeached if Kenyans were able to come together and actually do the right thing.
Right.
Otherwise, he needs to tell us, when these people, whoever it is that paid for his transport, what is it he's giving in return?
All right.
Yeah, so that's my concern.
And Madam President, so those questions have been raised. People saying that it's against the law, it's against the Constitution, that a gift of more than 20,000 shillings should actually be declared. How serious is this situation? Because other quarters have said it was a gift to the Republic of Kenya, not necessarily to the person of the president.
Well, the question is, how do you separate the person of the president from the Republic of Kenya? This week I was doing some mediation conference, and we raised, there was one of the infamous cases that were raised with regard to there was a corruption case that was raised touching on who is the state. And there was a joke made that when the bribe was made, they said, "Lo state c'est moi." And "Lo state c'est moi" meaning the state is Moi at that particular time. And so the question now you're saying again is that, is the state the president of the Republic of Kenya? I say that he has a responsibility, particularly as a state officer, to uphold the national values, leadership and integrity, particularly Chapter 6. And ideally, he ought to have disclosed, and disclosure is not to self. Disclosure must be made publicly. We have to know, he must tell the people of Kenya, the same way he embodies yesterday he said he's the symbol of unity. As the head of state, he takes leadership from the front. He must take leadership as well to disclose how much. So if he's saying they only spent 10 million, so where did he get the rest? Who are these friends of Kenya who have donated this amount of money? Because if the donation was to the people of Kenya, then the people of Kenya deserve to know who are these friends of ours, how much did they give? And ideally, as the Member of Parliament has indicated,
right.
There is no free lunch. I think that's an infamous statement he just made the last 2 weeks. So if there is no free lunch, what is Kenya giving in exchange for whatever gift has been given to the people of Kenya? If he says the gift was not to him, it was to the Republic of Kenya. And so I agree that it's in breach. He has not still disclosed. Just merely saying that we've only spent 10 million, that is not disclosure. The people of Kenya deserve to know how much, who are the people behind this amount of money.
So how does he do that? Because he has spoken on different occasions. As soon as he came back, he wrote on his X account and said there has been several questions that are being asked, but KQ was going to be more expensive. At the National Prayer Breakfast, he said that this debate needs to close now. What we did is that we spent only 10 million shillings, despite what would have been 70 million shillings. The State House spokesperson, Hussein Mohammed, released a statement indicating it is UAE that came forward to assist the president travel. So in what format should that full disclosure be?
Also, UAE, they say that UAE gave us, came forward to give that amount of money, but are they saying, is there public disclosure indicating exactly that, yes, this came? What is the evidence that it actually came from UAE? Just merely giving us a statement does not amount to disclosure. And so you have to also table it with the evidence. The same way that public officers are demanded to disclose, and you must table, state officers, you must table evidence, particularly if it's any gift and how much it is and who are the people. So he just merely given a blanket statement that it's UAE that came. Are we sure that it's UAE that gave him that entire amount or paid for the jet? And I think it's a bit economical with the truth to say that KQ would have been more expensive. Has he tabled cross-reference that they made this comparison? These are the rates they got from Kenya Airways. We cannot go particularly with the statement that was given because we don't know if KQ's statement was real or fake, because we saw a statement, then later on it was going around that it's fake. So give us an analysis.
Okay.
I think transparency is quite important, particularly with the kind of scandals and the expenditure that has been going around.
Ruben, how important is this for a country that we're dealing with so many issues, but also questions of perception? How important is making this disclosure?
It is critical if you, as a leader, cannot be transparent about how you govern. Certainly, it leads to what we call a trust deficit. And when you lose trust, my friend, you can say whatever you want to say. You can do whatever you want to do. The citizens will not be with you. And this government has consistently continued to pile up on that trust deficit right from inception. And so when it comes to the extravagant lifestyles and spending that this government is doing, and at the same time telling citizens, you know, we need to cut down on the costs of doing things, you know, this is what we're doing. There is so much contradiction that nobody takes them seriously. And when you have doublespeak, when you make one statement today, tomorrow you unsay it, then what that does is it discredits you as a leader. I must add that that trust deficit goes hand in hand with the issues of character, the character of a leader. The nature of leadership in Kenya is such that you can politic all you want, contradict yourself, betray the citizens, and still be in office. outside this country, in many developed countries, if such things happened, someone would either resign or step aside. But here, you just boldly walk on, like Kenyans forgot it. And so character, they say, is like pregnancy. You can't hide it. When the president says we need to live within our means and so on, but he himself spends half the time traveling extravagantly, spending that kind of money and lying, to the international community, lying at a prayer meeting.
What do you mean lying?
Because, there is doublespeak. So did the trip cost 10 million? Did the trip cost 70 million? Did the trip cost 200 million? So there is ambiguity on the trip expense. And so if you actually want, people to respect you, you want to be consistent with the truth. And so we have a problem because the thing that we're dealing with is really the taxes of Kenyans. And at a time when we are dealing with this tax bill, we must really know how was our money spent, or if we got a gift, how much was it, and how was it spent? Okay. So we're dealing with a trust deficit here. All
right. Mheshimiwa Duncan Mathenge, good morning and welcome to the show. The statement from State House read that at under 10 million shillings, this was the most efficient and economical way for the president and his delegation to undertake a trip of this magnitude. I don't know whether Parliament is interested in pursuing this question, because in the end, it is the House of Oversight. And if there are questions, it is only the representatives of the people who would find the information for the Republic. What are your thoughts? And this explanation by the President and State House, is it satisfactory for you?
Thank you, Sam. I think the bigger question that Kenyans are confronted with: how should our president travel whenever he travels out of the country as the president of the Republic, pursuing national issues in executing his mandate as president? And the president has been consistent, because he said the figures of 200 million that have been fronted, it did not cost that much. That was his first statement. In his second pronouncement on the issue, he gave a figure of 10 million. The debate before the president left for the US had already been there. Yep. That this is the first state visit. So the people who are trying to convert that US visit by the president to a personal visit are continuing on a known path that we have seen, where we want to question, to put in the minds of Kenyans that everything the president does, despite what has been stated and what is known, there is always something behind it that is not being said. This visit was not a personal visit by the president. It is actually the US that said this is a state visit.
Right.
The second issue, yes, there is a requirement in law for disclosure. But was this a gift to the president or to the state visit? And even in the law, what is the format for disclosure? And we must escape from the innuendo and conjecture of politicians and panelists who must find something to say about everything that is happening, much as it is within our right to speak.
So if it is, your words, if it's a gift to the state visit, how should the communication be?
That is the question. That is what I have asked. What is the format? What is the format for disclosure? So that as a country, we say this is the format. From what I know, is if there is a gift, there's actually supposed to be a gift register. And it's through that register that then you forfeit the gift.
So how does it function? Because Article 76 of the Constitution, Sub-Article 1, a gift or donation to a state officer on a public or official occasion is a gift or donation to the Republic and shall be delivered to the state unless exempted under an Act of Parliament. Exactly. So this connotes as if it would be a physical gift. But if this donation or this assistance from the UAE that we spent 10 million shillings instead of nobody knows how much, yes. How should that communication be made? Is it before the visit, after the visit, or during the visit?
And that is the lacuna that I'm finding. That is why I've asked, what is the format in law? And that is why I said that when you go, the only other mention I know is that there's supposed to be a register for those gifts. When it is a lift, so because basically, in the layman's language, the president got a lift to the US. So how is that lift supposed to be documented and revealed as a gift?
And that's what I'm asking, because I thought there's a public procurement law that would guide how you to even procure the financing of a trip to the US. I would imagine that a budget was drawn to say that we want to spend this much for this. Yes. If there's staff accompanying the president, there would be their daily subsistence allowances, or per diem if you like. Yes. There must have been a budget for that. Yes. So is Parliament interested, I go back to my original question, is Parliament interested in transparency and accountability over this matter? If yes, how?
Parliament has a role. Among its 3 roles, one of them is oversight. And any member of Parliament, either if it is an issue that deserves the attention of a party position, they can bring in a question sponsored by the party or a member of Parliament individually. And we are back in Parliament effective tomorrow, 4th.
Right.
I am waiting to see the parliamentarians who then have weighed in on this matter come to the floor of the House and demand that Parliament executes its oversight role and gets
so you're waiting to see
clarity.
Would you be interested yourself to raise a question, or you're satisfied?
Today, Sam, I am satisfied.
Okay.
And this is my reason. When I weighed against what the president was able to bring to the country from that visit, immediate and going into the future, the expenditure pales when we look at the benefits that accrue to the country. So from this trip, there is no personal gain that went to the president.
So what are the benefits?
What are the benefits? I can tell you, in the defense area, where Kenyans have expressed themselves about our budgetary allocation to defense, under defense cooperation, there is an element of training and logistical support. Under the digital superhighway, there is investment coming in the country. Part of that investment coming is going to enable us to start producing microchips for use in manufacturing. In fact, some of the investors are destined for the technology park at Kimathi University. There is a data center that is coming up at Konza.
So and those are 3 examples you cite.
Yes.
So what is the trade-off? What is Kenya giving?
In fact, that is the question that everybody wants the president and government to disclose. But none of them...
You said you're satisfied, aren't you?
Yes. Kenya, as a nation, there is nothing that we have traded off. We have a partnership, with a strategic partnership with America. We have the investment that is coming. We have the highway to Mombasa. So what is it really that Kenyans are saying? So every time when we go to the World Bank and negotiate, when we go to the other countries and negotiate multilateral donations and grants, what do we give away? What have we given away? Because this is not the first time this kind of arrangement is happening. So again, the seeds of doubt and this question of deficit of trust, that is a currency that was used throughout the electioneering period 2022, that Kenyans were being made to believe that they could not trust their president. Kenyans overcame that narrative and that currency and voted in the president.
We've not overcome, sir. That's why we're here.
How is he president? He won. He was declared the winner of the elections.
Okay. There's a clip I wanted us to listen to of the president on his explanation about this. Let's watch.
When I was told the cheapest plane was 70 million, I told my office, go book Kenya Airways. Yeah. So when some friends of mine heard that I was going to travel Kenya Airways, and we have built a big reputation as a country. We have built friends. Some friends told me, how much do you want to pay? I said, I'm not ready to pay more than 20 million. They said, bring 10 million, we will give you the plane.
All right, and indeed, the statement from State House says that it was under 10 million shillings, which he says that was most efficient and economical way of traveling in such magnitude. So, Mheshimiwa Mathenge, you say very interesting things. But, Honorable Mboi, so you're back in the House tomorrow. And yes, there's no doubt that when you look at some of the benefits or the commitments as communicated by the White House, not State House, Kenya, would amount to 1 trillion shillings. But they're of different caliber. There are those that are commitments, there are those that are concessions, there are those that are supporting the security sector in Kenya, there are those that you call this major non-NATO ally. But then again, what is the value of asking these questions? Honorable Mathenge says it's deficit, trust deficit. But what is the value of full disclosure and having everyone on board to understand what they are giving versus what they are receiving?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. First and foremost, Sam, I want to say that my colleague here said that he's waiting to see a member question. I will be asking what it costs the Kenyan taxpayer, and I will be asking also how many people traveled with the president, what their roles were, and what it cost the Kenyan taxpayer. I'm going to ask that question. So be ready to give me a response, and I'm sure they've heard. Because, I mean, Honorable Mathenge is saying we shouldn't be questioning things. I've heard him say here that, you know, we are doubtful, we don't trust. So we are supposed to see no evil and hear no evil. But the reality is that, you know, even if there are going to be benefits, we are aware that there is no free lunch. There's no way the U.S. can call the Kenyan president and you know, invite him to a state visit so that they can give him goodies. It doesn't absolutely makes no sense. There must be what they're gaining out of Kenya. And I'll give you one example. We are sending 1,000 Kenyan police officers to their death in Haiti. That's one of the trade-offs. We are risking 1,000 Kenyan police officers' lives because of that. They may make it back, but we are risking them.
That's quite hard, Mheshimiwa Mboi, for you to say that.
No, but we are risking 1,000 police officers' lives.
Visit,
it is
we are risking 1,000 police officers' lives.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things about that you talked about security. But then let me say this: that I think Article 10 talks about transparency. It's one of those things that the president has to do. And look, even if you look at the narration about the exposure to, I mean, the information that is flowing from this trip, if there was a donation, ab initio, if the president, like he said when he came back, that there was a budget that was given to him and he rejected it and he said no, then people came to his aid, that should have been disclosed from the beginning. But what you've noticed is that Kenyans on Twitter have complained You know, on social media rather. Kenyans have complained and raised concerns until he reached a point where now he has to address it. So it's not addressing it transparently. He's doing it as a reaction to Kenyans' questions. So I think for me, he breached Article 10 because he wasn't transparent from the beginning. But then again, some notices. Even the manner in which the president talks about Kenya Airways, which is our national flag bearer, is also very demeaning. I mean, he says, I was given a budget and I said, in that case, book me Kenya Airways. So what is he saying? That Kenya Airways is beneath him, you know? And he told us he's come to office as a hustler. And it is beneath a hustler to travel business class or first class on Kenya Airways. Right. So I think it's quite demeaning for me, and I think it's important. But otherwise, having said that, I think this is something that I'll follow through the proper channels in the floor of the House. We'll get the answers from the presidency so we can be able to move on.
Okay, all right. And I want us to take a short break on that note. When we come back, we'll be talking about the state of politics in the country. We've seen so much conversations going on, different locations from Mount Kenya to Western Kenya. The president was with a host of cabinet secretaries saying that the country needs to unite and forget about ethnicity. The deputy president was in Mount Kenya saying, what is the issue if the region unites? Stay tuned.